Hey, welcome back to Kothcast, the show where we talk about anything and everything. Today's guest is Gears.
Hey, how's it going? I can already hear them now. Who the hell is this guy?
No, it's good. So let me explain who Gears is. He is one of the people who's been following me for a while, and he is fairly new to the furry fandom. And so I thought this would be a good opportunity to, talk to you, Gears, about your indoctrination.
Indoctrinate, yeah, that works
Yeah,
too.
we're gonna we're gonna talk about your indoctrination into the furry fandom and what's that like, what that was like, because I figure a lot of my viewers are furries, but a lot of them are also people who maybe aren't furries but kind of are interested in it. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to kind of speak to them a little bit.
Yeah, sure, yeah. I yeah, it's I've been watching y'all for probably it was halfway through your Hollow Knight stream on Twitch.
Mm.
That was a few months ago. And then now I'm one of your moderators on Discord
Yeah.
and Patreon and Twitch supporter and whatnot. So that's
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. It's such interesting. I actually didn't know that you were that new. So you found me through streams?
Oh, well, I initially found you through YouTube
Mm-hmm.
on the recommended videos. I guess I could get into how like it kind of all started.
Yeah. Go over your whole story.
Yeah. Well, first off, I like to say that I'm like a pretty open-minded person. I definitely try to do things before deciding on how I feel about them. I mean, for most things. So I kind of knew what furries were at a young age, with Disney and Looney Tunes and whatnot. Not really part of the fandom at all. Just not really know anything about it. And then, say, 3 years ago, there was a convention that I went to. It was a gaming convention where they had Super Smash Bros. Tournament. Did pretty well there. But that was the first time I came in contact with a fursuiter. And so that was a kind of looking over my shoulder at him, trying not to stare or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice fursuiter. You can tell that it would cost a lot of money. Kind of interested, just poking around. Then I couldn't stay the whole time, so I came back. But one of my friends that stayed there, he uh, he came back at a different time and told me how like that particular guy had a bit of a like people were giving him a little bit of a rough time
Mm-hmm.
the last day. So I'm like, well, damn, that kind of sucks. So I kind of curiosity just kind of took me to the interwebs and kind of looked up a little bit more about the fandom and whatnot. And then I found a really strange YouTube video thumbnail with a blue dragon screaming "fuck everything," uh, and so I'm like, oh, this is pretty interesting. So I took a look at that, and then about 2 days later, I've watched all of your videos,
Oh my.
um, and kind of just jumped on, saw that you were streaming, and kind of jumped on there, and then off we went, really.
Cool. So what, I guess, made you decide, you didn't consider yourself a furry for a long time, even like after watching my videos and things, right?
Yeah, even now it's kind of. I mean, I'm still on the outskirts. I mean, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
like I don't do it publicly or anything.
You
It's mainly
don't
just
do it publicly.
I don't know. That's probably the
Wear
best
a
way to say
dragon
it.
mask out to Walmart.
Exactly. Yeah. Not exactly that level yet,
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, it's I like kind of a friend of the community would also be a good description for me, I guess. Yeah. After kind of coming onto Twitch and whatnot, and what really drew me to you was that you didn't really make the community your focus on a lot of your videos.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little bit easier to kind of get into it, I guess, as kind of a background piece rather than the main focus of every single video. Like the other YouTubers that do like fursuiters and whatnot, and
Right.
they're kind of right there and in front of you, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm getting a little distracted by your ears or whatnot. um, so that was making it a little easier, but I don't know. It's probably like going through the Twitch and the Discord and whatnot, kind of showed me like, hey, this is actual community, and it was actually very interesting. Pretty much every day that some new things came up, and just like every other community, you make new friends and whatnot. And
Mm-hmm.
I know I became the normie of the server for a month or two there, and
Yeah,
that was fun.
a lot of people. It's kind of funny. I mean, not actually funny, more like disheartening that people in the furry community, even like in my Discord server, kind of push out a lot of non-furries. Like, did they do that to you at first? Because you said you were the normie of the server.
And I, I made sure that I was kind of the quiet one, and whenever I kind of posted at the beginning there, it was kind of just adding to the conversation that was there, not really like
Hmm.
bringing up, hey, you all are furries and I am not, like kind of focused on that. So I didn't do that. So I think it was a little bit easier for people to leave me alone uh,
Hmm.
in that regard. Yeah, I've after being a part of Discord for a while, I have seen that pop up, and it's kind of strange because it never really happened to me. I guess, I mean, I tried to keep an open mind and not kind of post the wrong thing, as they say. And yeah, it was kind of just after a while, they corrupted me enough, I
Corrupted
guess.
you. Yeah. So before you were at that gaming convention and you saw that first suitor for the first time, do you know about the furry community at all?
Only as like I know they exist.
Hmm.
I know the media doesn't give you a good reputation.
Right.
Probably my ultimate first exposure to the community was that CSI episode, and I know a lot of people
Oh,
know about that.
good.
But I was a little bit young, so I didn't really understand it all too much.
Hmm.
But it wasn't really a big part of my life. I mean, it's not my main thing, of course, but it's definitely a lot of fun now. Just being, talking to people, being part of a community and whatnot. Like, I don't even know if you can count the character that you see up on the screen right now as an actual fursona, as he's more of a character in one of my books that I've written,
Hmm.
or book series that I've written, and I'm kind of using him as a face in the community right now, and people seem to like him. So
Yeah. Oh well, people are fans of feral dragons, as you've probably seen.
yeah,
Uh,
especially when you get an author to do bedroom eyes for him.
oh my God, yeah, the bedroom eyes. So, one of the things that kind of dissuades people from being part of the community or even getting close, even if they're interested, is like you get a lot of flack from friends and family, or at least that's what they think will happen. Now, are you like, have you told your friends that you're a furry? Do they know about that?
No, no, I've kept it quite to myself, as
Uh-huh.
it's not really. I don't want to like sound like pretentious or anything, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's not really a big part of me right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's mainly a thing just as an escape, I guess, is probably the best.
Yeah, okay.
With all the stress that I've been going under senior year of college and getting ready to graduate and find a job and out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of nice to just run away and hide a little bit. Not really run away and hide, but like more like a run away and be a part of something that's completely unrelated and and neat and interesting to be a part of.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's a good way to look at it. I think a lot of people do use it as a sort of escape. And you don't always want, that can be a private thing. You don't always want your friends or whoever to be involved in that. I get that. It's kind of nice to have a like separate online identity than real life.
Exactly, exactly.
For me, it actually was not. It it was never that. I think I knew it was a furry when I was like 14, and I kind of told everyone about it. I would like draw dragons and stuff in middle school and high school, and people would be like, why do you draw them so sexy?" And I'd be like, "Cause I want to fuck them." And
Uh,
I was the dragon porn kid in high school.
well, kudos to you for being that I don't know, brave. I don't know.
Oh, well, one thing I learned, and this is actually, a thing that a lot of people ask me about. I'll just say one thing I learned is that if you kind of own your weirdness, then people can't really make fun of you for it. I mean, they can try, but it doesn't mean anything. If you're, a lot of people who are furries or gay or well, not so much gay anymore because it's more accepted, but when
Mm.
I was in school, being gay was not okay. So if you were actually gay, people would make fun of you relentlessly for that. But if you owned it and was just like, yeah, I'm gay, you want to fuck, then they wouldn't make fun of you anymore. They'd just be like, okay,
Oh, fun.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
no,
well,
I totally
maybe
get that.
not. Yeah, that was, and it's the same thing with furry. I've always just been kind of like, okay, I'm a furry. I want to go to conventions and I like the art and I talk to people online almost exclusively. And you can make fun of me for it, but I don't care because it's like making fun of someone because they like to fix cars or something. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's probably one of the best a good advice to grade school bullies where they're the ones that look bad and make them not want to bully you. Pretty much, it's kind of a really weird psychological problem, I guess, that you kind of have to solve.
uh
I personally does have had some bullying issues until I hit high school, where I just said, you know what, I don't care what you think about me anymore. And I kind of, it was definitely a lot easier experience for me getting into high school because I stopped really caring about what people thought, I guess,
uh
or at least not as much.
Yeah, no, that's the biggest thing is understanding that
You're
what
never
other
going to see
people
these
think of
people
you.
again.
Well, yeah, I mean that too, but just like what they think just kind of doesn't matter. Especially in high school, even college. Or fuck, like the army. Army is like high school part two. For the so
College, college is,
what's that?
especially with a more um, refined college, like where it's all focused on one thing and pretty much everybody
hmm
there is shooting for the same job. Um, Making people like you is, I would say, is a little bit more important than high school, but still, like it's more of your worth ethic. But that's unrelated.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, I only went to 2 years of college, so I don't really know that much about it, I guess. So yeah, I can't really speak on that too much. I just know that when I was there, it was kind of people still had their little cliques and like childish. A lot of people are just fresh out of high school. They don't know anything about like how to be an adult, I guess.
Yeah,
You just kind of have to not care. There's too much shit to worry about. You gotta worry about paying bills and I don't know, eating and kids. Like you don't like who the fuck cares if Jimmy, who goes to the same class as you, is into fucking bubble wrap or something, like whatever.
yeah, yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's really strange the year or summer or whatever between high school and college. There's a I don't know if it was just me, but there was a crazy transformation of people. Like
hmm
in high school, everybody cares about what everybody else was doing and what their interests were. And then in college, just nobody cares. They're so they focus on 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 getting through college. Like they all want to be there rather than they're all required by the government to be there.
Oh, that is a really good point too. Actually, I haven't. Well, I can't say I've never thought of that, but I kind of wasn't thinking about that. But no, that's a very good point. Is that people in college, yeah, want to be there, so they're not all pissed off all the time. I was one of those kids in school, high school, that was always pissed off all the time. But I didn't bully people. I bullied the teachers because I hated them the most.
Oh my. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I didn't really do that.
Oh really?
But I was kind of the weird kid in high school, as I know a bunch of your viewers probably can relate to.
Yeah, definitely. Me
Uh,
too.
yeah,
I was
but like
dragon porn kid.
yeah, but like in college, like I can walk across campus and have three people call me by name and say hello, and
hmm
it's awesome. I absolutely love college, but I know my story isn't the same as everybody else's. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess the takeaway here is that if you are a furry in high school or middle school, and people are bullying you, like, don't worry about it. It's going to be over soon, and then you're going to be in the like real world, and people aren't going to be doing that anymore. And it doesn't matter what you're into, because everybody's into like weird shit, and nobody cares after a certain age.
yeah, 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 that'd be a good end point on that. I guess really the thing that kind of put me over the edge was a commission that somebody got for me, you, and them on the
Hmm.
Discord. One of your other mods, Sammy the Fox,
Oh yeah.
where he got a commission of me, you, and him as like our anthro characters or whatever.
Yeah, as anthros. Yeah, I think that's the first time anyone's drawn me as an anthro.
Yeah, that was the first time as me, and that kind of made me stop and think. I was kind of in a I had a little bit of a I didn't sleep very well that night before he showed me that, and I'm like I was already kind of my brain was already frazzled, and I'm like he shows me that, and I'm like, huh, that's that's supposed to be me. Like that was the first time I
Hmm.
kind of looked at my character, and I kind of thought, hey, that's supposed to represent me. It was kind of weird seeing him as an anthro. I've never ever thought of him like that. Uh,
Hmm.
so that was really, I think, the thing that kind of kicked me over the head and said, hey, you're in this community now. At least the tipping point. Everybody else in Discord definitely helped push, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not super. I don't pay super close attention to like general chat all the time, but yeah. So that's interesting. They kind of like pushed you into it.
Well, not like hey you're a furry now, you're a furry now, you're a furry now. Not
Hmm.
like going like that, but just kind of I don't know, being friendly and like me wanting to talk more to them and and finding out their interests and seeing how similar we are, that kind of thing, and just kind of growing my friendship for the community, and kind of they just kind of absorbed me, I guess.
Hmm.
um,
That's cool. That's really neat. I'm kind of proud of my fans, I guess, for not being assholes to you.
yeah. I mean, I've kind of, as being a mod, it's kind of it's interesting to see how people, how important being nice to other people means giving or receiving niceness. I guess I don't know.
Hmm.
Like if somebody comes in just spams like spamming in the Discord, everybody kind of like goes, hey, some mod or something, and then we ban them, and then but like if you come in and say, hey, I just kind of found his YouTube a few days ago and found out he had a Discord, and you know and kind of like hey, here's my fursona or whatnot, and everybody like seems to be pretty nice, which is pretty awesome.
Cool. Oh, well, I'm glad. I mean, I should probably pay more attention to that shit, but got other stuff to do, I guess.
Well, that's why you have mods, right?
Yeah, yeah. And to be clear, people were nice to you before you were a mod, right? Like it wasn't just them trying to like suck up to
Oh
power,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah, totally. I think I probably had a little bit of a issue with the not safe for work bot that we had. I was definitely one of the ones that helped kill that off,
Oh,
which I
okay.
think was kind
Yeah.
of uh,
Oh, that was a blessing.
yeah. Some people, yeah. I'm kind of glad we did that. It was getting
Not
pretty
safe
bad.
for work, but
It was getting kind of bad. But that kind of, I don't know, was kind of an initiation, I guess. I said,
hmm.
hey, this guy's pretty cool. He knows he likes dire machines and whatnot, which I don't like him. I just post them for the lulz. But
Hmm. Those are the dire machines or the aeromorphs.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
but like the feral versions,
Fer- Feral,
if that
feral
makes sense.
airplanes. Oh, watch out.
I have no idea. That was
Hmm.
just one of the weirdest kinks I knew of before, knowing anything about the furry fandom. And
Hmm.
I was just like, hey, this kind of seems like it fits. What do y'all think of this? And so yeah, I became the dire machine guy there for a few weeks.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was you that was having the not safe for work bot post the dire machines?
Some of them. I After a while, I'm
Okay.
like, okay, I'm not going to get in trouble with this, and I kind of went hands off.
Oh
And then
boy.
other people kind of posted even worse stuff, and we had to kill that. But
Oh yeah. Uh, oh boy, the not safe for work bot. What a story. Yeah, it's kind of funny that with the furry community, basically anything animated, anything anthropomorphic that's animated is like furry bait. Like, that's what all furry kinks have in common. It's got to be animated. It's got to be like anthropomorphic something. Anthropomorphic. I mean, I'm sure people find those the like Brave Little Toaster movies hot or
Oh
something.
my
Yeah.
God. Okay, I'll move on from that. I'm gonna move
I'm
on
not
from that.
kidding.
I have to plead ignorance to all that.
Bleed ignorance, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Um.
quite normal in my kinks.
Uh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. No, I'm just thinking like everyone thinks they're normal, but yeah, if you're like definitely the shit that some people are into is like I don't understand how. I'm not saying it's bad or
Oh
they
no,
shouldn't
not at
be. It's
all.
just it's like super like bizarre stuff that I just wonder how it happened. You know, like what made them start to have an attraction for that specific thing.
I honestly have no idea, but
Yeah.
it's great. They got a thing and they own it, and it's great. Um, it doesn't bother me any.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people will say that the furry community is either they'll say something like what I was just joking about how the whole like pornographic side or sexual side is like the evil, the bad side, and hardly anyone does it. But I don't find that to be true. I think most furries are into it. And
Yeah.
what?
I mean, I definitely agree with that. From spending with my little time with the fandom so far, yeah, I can definitely agree on that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Anyone who says that it's not mostly sexual, I don't want to say it's the furry is fandom as a whole is mostly sexual. I just what I mean is that most furries are at least somewhat sexual with their furriness.
Hmm.
A lot of people will see, have some stuff on E621, and a lot of people will say, "Oh, someone else must have drawn him like that. He's a YouTuber. He would never be into anything sexual because they, I don't know, like
Hmm.
see me as some kind of like paragon of like furry goodness or some shit." And it's like, no, I paid for those. Like, I mean, yeah, there are a few pieces of fan art, but it's like everyone, I don't know.
Nah, if it helps grow your channel, right?
It helps. I had a poll recently on Twitter saying like how many of you first found me through art of I said art of my character, but everyone knows what
Yeah.
that means. That's a code word. And only like 5% of the people that answered the question said that, and everyone else was like YouTube suggestions. It's like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. But so I don't know how effective that whole campaign was, the whole
Well,
E621 campaign.
I maybe have more non-furry people than you think. I mean, you're out of all the other YouTubers that are furries. I mean, I'd rank you as one of the ones that kind of you definitely don't make it you use it as a backdrop. Like I said, you use it as a backdrop rather than all of your videos on how this political issue affects the furry community or hey, look,
Mm.
I'm talking to you in my fursuit and whatnot. I don't know. It's definitely a lot
Yeah.
easier as a as a filthy normie to kind of uh, get into you and listen to you and actually like think about what you have to say outside of the video.
Yeah, I wish that more furry content creators would do that, because you can appeal. You have to appeal to your audience, and you can do that while not being exclusively furry at the same time. One of my goals is to branch out and reach a bigger audience because there are only so many furries on YouTube, and as you can see, most of the furry channels reach about 100K, and then they don't get much bigger than that. So that's like 100K is like the amount of furries there are on YouTube, I think,
Mm. Yeah.
and you have to branch out to really get bigger than that. And the way to do that is to just make videos that are, like you said, you can use a furry backdrop, but just make videos that aren't about furry stuff. YMS, yourmoviesucks.org, or otherwise known as Adam, does that. He's a furry. He's open about his furriness, but none of his videos are about furries. Like he might make a remark now and then about. I remember in his Spider-Man review, he was like, he made a remark about the muscular alligator man or whatever, and how sexy he was, or something to that effect. And so he's open, and in his streams he talks about furries all the time. So
Hmm.
he's very open about being a furry, but at the same time, he still has like 600K subs, because people don't care because his videos are good.
Yeah, I mean, I think I personally don't know him, but it's definitely there's like tiers of how furry a YouTube channel is, and the
Hmm.
lower tiers are a little bit easier for people to get into, but while at the same time the upper tiers being catering to the furry community, and I think that's great. So like you kind of climb that ladder up as you will,
Hmm.
and kind of get introduced to the community, and then go to more channels that are more like news and sources of information on the community as a whole and just on the community. So definitely not taking away anything from the other YouTubers. At least that's what I found. I stay on the outskirts of everything. But yeah, it's interesting to see the furry community pop up in weird places sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one thing that people outside the community seem to not understand is that furries are just normal people with like a hobby, basically.
Yeah, and a great example of that was I'm into Super Smash Brothers competitively, competitive melee,
Hmm.
and one of my first, I guess, exposures to the community was it was a live stream. It was one of the biggest Smash communities at the time,
Hmm.
Genesis 3, and it was taking place at the exact same venue at the exact same time as a furry convention, and
Right.
and so that was kind of a mingling of both communities, where the when the furry side of things heard that they were going to have a Smash Brothers tournament at the same time, they actually went and organized their own Smash Brothers. So there were people in
Oh.
fursuits, kind of like using their paws on the controller trying to play it. But that was pretty interesting. I
Oh, that's funny.
I didn't go to it, but I watched the live streams, and the Smash Brothers commentators. They definitely had a lot of fun with it.
Hmm.
And I mean, there's Fox and Falco in the game. Those are the two top tiers of the game.
Oh, oh
So
yeah,
those are
definitely.
furries.
Everyone,
So
everyone loves those guys.
there was a joke that on Twitter that I saw a while ago. It was like, man, it's going to be weird having deviants and social outcasts in this venue. Oh, and also furries are going to be there. Um, yeah, because the Smash Bros. Community is definitely another one of those kind of weird communities that I'm also a part of. Because like you play the 16-year-old party game made for kids competitively, and people win money off of it and actually get a job off of it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, I wanted to talk about that. I've seen there. I'm sure you've seen that documentary. I can't remember what it's
The
called, but
Smash
it's
documentary.
about, yeah, the Smash Brothers documentary exactly. And
Oh yeah.
I watched that, and I used to really like Smash Brothers too. I played it back when it was like, I guess when it came out. I don't want to say when it was popular, because it is still really popular, but
Hmm.
when it kind of first came out and was gaining popularity, um, I played it a lot back then, and I can see the appeal, but it's kind of like there aren't a whole lot of really old games like that people still play competitively,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. Melee is definitely an anomaly, and that's
Hmm.
stood the test of time mainly because of how technical and how fun, or how deep you can go with it.
Hmm.
Um, like just to move around with my character, I mean ice climbers, and I can suddenly hear a lot of people moaning in the comments. I
Hmm.
play ice climbers, and my like you can get super technical with it. Like my run speed isn't as good as some other people, but there's a movement tech called wave dashing that
Hmm.
it involves jumping and air dodging at the ground, and you're able to slide along the ground. And in order to do that, you have to press the jump button, you have to air dodge with the L or R button, and then point the control stick down. And that's just to move across the screen. And you have to do that within half a second of each other. And so you can get really deep into the technical side of things. That's just one example. And the how far you can push this game is, I believe, what really kept it around, and how big it is right now. Like how big it is right now is really a testament to that. And I see myself. I don't know how long I'm still going to be a part of the community after I graduate college and getting into my job. But I definitely intend to still practice with it and keep it as a hobby. Even
Yeah.
when I'm an adult, I am an adult, but
Even when we're
even when I'm a
adults.
grown man
Uh,
child.
don't worry, I'm almost 30 and I still say that. When I'm an adult, I'm gonna do this. Like, oh wait.
Yeah.
Why do you think it is that people play Melee and not like the newest iteration of Smash Brothers?
Well, I'm sure it stems. Part of it stems from them being it being a game that they grew up with. Like most of our
Hmm.
Smash community players, our top players are around a little older than my age. They're around like, I don't know, 25, 30, that kind of around there.
Hmm.
And so that was around the time that they were around 15 when Melee came out, and or like in the early teenage years. And so they've been playing for the entire time it's been out. And so that's a game that they got good at, and that's what keeps it around. But I think also another the thing that kind of keeps it around is the in-depthness and how just the community as a whole, like being, oh, look at that sick combo, and like and they still have uh, tournaments that generate hype, I guess is the best word for it. And so that
Hmm.
gets people excited to play the game and watch the game and want to support the community and whatnot. And really, it's just how deep you can go with it, how in depth you can go with it, and because it's a really high ceiling, it's a really high skill ceiling that the game has.
No, do you play any other games competitively?
Well, not not really competitively. I definitely made competitive Melee my competitive choice.
Hmm.
The other game that I definitely play religiously is Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Oh, right, yeah.
I have a full a full. Geez, when was the first time I played that? It must have been 15 years ago. And I've been constantly a part of that somewhat smaller community, of course.
Hmm.
And I'm definitely be proud of that, doing repaints and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, I saw you did the Kothorix one, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't worry. I haven't put it up for download or anything.
I mean, you could if you wanted to.
I don't know. Maybe I might.
Uh, Now with the flight sim thing, that's something I never really understood. I've played flight simulators before, and what is the appeal to you for that?
Well, there's really two sides of the community: the realistic side and the things that focus on. I want to learn how to be a pilot. I'm going to
Hmm.
go onto a server called VATSIM, where you not pretend, but you act like it's a real thing and you follow the proper procedures and whatnot. And they're trying to be pilots and keep it realistic and professional. And then you
Hmm.
got more of the side of me, which I do virtual air shows. Um, I perform as a solo aerobatic pilot in the air show circuit, where I have an airplane and I come up with a routine that I do, set it to
Hmm.
music, and then we live stream it. And there are air shows that people set up that they have a camera airplane that sits there on the runway with obviously edited to not have a virtual cockpit or anything. So
Hmm.
it's a camera bubble pretty much that follows you and tracks you and records your air show and puts it up for live stream. And I personally have flown in front of 100 people before,
Oh, cool.
and not counting the one air show I did where one of those people was a setup at the Pensacola Naval Station where they live streamed they had the live stream up in front of like 1,000 on duty uh, on duty officers.
Huh.
So
That's really interesting.
it's definitely it's a weird thing to describe to people because they're like, is that even a thing? Um, so I definitely don't.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, that has taken up that was the biggest thing in my life up to when I started college. I've kind of had to put it on the back burner. But I've definitely
Now,
definitely enjoyed my time in the community so far.
did you say that you wanted to be a pilot or just play the game?
I I had to make that decision before I started college. I definitely want to go more the engineering side, actually building the airplane, and that's where really my interest lies is in the
Hmm.
engineering side of aviation.
Cool. And that's what you're going to school for?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm on my senior year. I got one more semester left, and then I'm actually trying to get a job right now at a certain company, um, and hopefully that I get through the. I've just did the phone interview yesterday, and
Hmm.
trying to get a job offer from them.
I don't know. I have a lot of respect for people who go to college and then get a job based off of that because that's kind of a rare thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's yeah. Unfortunately, in this day and age, it's definitely like that, where it's a lot harder to get a job nowadays.
Well, I mean, not only in general, but I mean, a lot of people go to school for like some, I don't know, business or some liberal arts thing or something, and they don't ever get a job related to that. There aren't a lot of jobs that are to some of those gender studies,
Oh
and it's
yeah.
like it seems so wasteful to me, like a waste of a bunch of money and 4 years of your life to essentially have a little piece of paper that I don't even know what the purpose is. I don't even know why people value it. Even in the army, it was like, well, if you have a degree, it doesn't matter what it's in. But if you have a degree, you can be an officer. Makes no sense to me. Like,
Hmm.
why that thing? What is that? Why is that important? But for someone like you who's going to school for engineering and then wants to have a job in engineering, like that's really cool to me.
Yeah, it's definitely been tough. I'll tell you that right now.
Hmm.
I've probably
Oh, I can
I've
imagine.
lost my part of my sanity, and me joining the furry community, I think, is a good example of that.
Yeah.
uh,
Oh no, I've never really gotten too far into the. I don't even know, what sort of engineering you do. I know, obviously aeronautical, but
what that entails,
uh, with what?
what that entails.
All
It
right.
entails a lot. I'll tell you
Um,
that right now.
I took a few classes in the army that were. They counted as engineering, but they were mostly like how to properly blow things up.
Hmm.
Uh, and that was incredibly hard. So much math involved. How to properly place charges and how much and how deep they have to be and where and all of that kind of thing. And that was intense math. And yeah, let's just say I don't think I could pursue a career in anything like that.
Yeah, every single class I've taken is just a mathematics course under a different name.
Mhm.
So you
Right.
definitely have to love the number crunching if you wanted to get a degree in engineering.
Hmm.
And I'm doing well so far.
I'm glad to hear that. Maybe someday you can build an actual Kothorix airplane and have it as a advertisement for my channel.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, on a smaller scale, I want to definitely get into the general aviation side of things. And so, hey, who knows? Maybe a sticker will appear on an airplane somewhere. Kind of, yeah, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, it's definitely been a ride. I'll tell you that right now. You're definitely a great YouTuber to kind of introduce people to a new fandom. Like I've called you before a gatekeeper to the community. Um,
Gatekeeper to the community.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
prestigious.
something like that. Like hey, let me show you around this community, and it's definitely you've definitely want to thank you definitely for allowing me particularly to develop a lot more friendships than what I normally wouldn't have. Like I would have never met these people another way. Really,
Hmm.
it's a community that's kind of out of my normal interests. Just so far away from everything else, other than Smash Brothers, of course. But you definitely allowed a lot of people to come together and develop friendships and relationships through your YouTube channel and Discord and whatnot. Um, I mean, my story is only you're at almost 26,000 subscribers at this point. And my
Hmm.
story is definitely only one of 26,000 other people, and it's definitely to keep that in mind as you go up to 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear that. I appreciate that, and I think part of it isn't so much me as it is the community is very I want to say welcoming, but also just kind of generally friendly, more so than almost any other community I've come across, where you don't have to you don't have to be like a hardcore furry. You can just be kind of interested in furries, and they'll still accept you. And everybody's just kind of open and honest about most things, and just kind of like talks to you like they know you. You know?
Yeah, totally, definitely. I've definitely come across that. The only other community that was kind of like that to me was the flight sim community because they're a bunch of old guys just wanted to fly airplanes. Um,
Right.
so they kind of, as long as you're interested in airplanes, they're more than welcome to talk to you on them. And it's very similar to the furry community. I know every community has its drama and whatnot, and I mean the furry community is definitely one of those. But they don't make it the 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 thing that drives people away, I guess, if that kind of makes sense.
I meet so many people who are just kind of standoffish and weird until they get to know you. It's so strange to me because like I said, I've always kind of been a part of the furry community, so I'm just used to people being so nice. So when I go out into like the real world, it's very strange, how I'm sure you've experienced this, how kind of weird and I don't even know what to, like I said, standoffish that people are at first compared to furries.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've in high school, I definitely had a few people that kind of saw other people kind of shunning me, so they shunned me themselves, and uh, and then I kind of just go, oh, okay, and just be relatively nice to them and just kind of just talk to them if they ever communicate with me at all, and then they come back and say, hey, I apologize for being like that to you, and you seem to be a pretty cool guy. I mean, I've had that happen a few times. So definitely getting to know somebody, I think, is a lot more important than what society as a whole kind of sets for that person, I guess.
Yeah.
And the furry community is definitely a great example of that.
Right. I think the other good thing is just from personal experience is just that most things are online, so you can kind of just keep friends. Whereas outside of the community, if you move around a lot, like I did when I was a kid, because my dad was in the military, you kind of don't make friends. So online people are the only people that you can really make good friends with and know for 10 or so years.
Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, I can. I personally haven't didn't move around much when I was a kid. I've only recently moved, or my family recently just moved out of my hometown. But I can definitely imagine that online relationships become a lot more important when you have a childhood or a life like that.
I think maybe that's one of the reasons why furries are the way they are, because I'm sure a lot of them have similar stories where they couldn't really make friends in real life, so they got online and found the community.
Oh yeah, totally. Like I've gained um, at least 10 friends from the Discord that I definitely
Hmm.
call I'm proud to call friends. And I interact with on almost a daily basis now, and I'm really thankful for that. There's definitely should be no stigma that these online friendships are any less than real world friendships. I feel.
Yeah, that's something that people don't really get too, is that online friends are real friends, or like online dating is actual dating. They don't. They're just very sort of like old-fashioned idea that unless you are with a person face to face, then it doesn't mean anything. But I would say that more and more, well, not most people, a lot of people's meaningful relationships are online because it's the internet. It's like pretty soon we're gonna be hooked up to internet machines, and we're not even gonna like be alive really. It's just gonna be the Matrix, except self-imposed.
Yeah, totally. I can see that.
I hope so, because I don't want to say like I'm afraid of it. I'm just more like irritated that it's gonna happen. is when I get older, I'm gonna be stuck in some kind of like old person's home or something. Because I'm not gonna have any kids. I already know that. So I'm gonna be stuck in like some old person's home at some point, and I'm gonna be really pissed off if all they have is like a shitty like a Sega Saturn or something, um, and bad Wi-Fi. You know that the old folks of my generation are going to be complaining about the bad Wi-Fi and not so much about, well, I don't know, whatever the hell it is people complain about now.
Yeah, and all the Smashers will have arthritis.
Yeah, yeah, that'll suck too when I can't play video games. So I sure hope that we get to plug our brains into the internet here pretty soon, because ah man, if that becomes what we can do, I don't even care about getting old. I'll just wow, I'll be playing MMOs till the day I die.
Hell yeah, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, the yeah, and if there's a comfy little co-pilot seat all already and waiting for you if you ever want to play some flight simulator.
You keep trying to get me to do that.
I'm not gonna.
Maybe I will sometime.
Yeah.
I have no idea what to do. I'll probably crash the plane into the
Well, the
ground.
great thing is I could
Um,
be the co-pilot, and like you could it could be like a fun little backdrop for a Q&A session where like you handle the
mm.
radios or whatnot. But I'm not gonna push you to do that.
Oh, that is a good background for a Q&A. Because I mean, a lot of like flying, I imagine, for like commercial flying is just kind of boring. Like you just sit there as a pilot for 5 hours. Like what do you do other than like deploy landing gear and things?
Yeah, yeah, and we can. It's not just airliners. I mean, I obviously have made a Koth Force One. Um,
Cop Force One.
yeah, but flight sim is just definitely a unique hobby. Definitely, it doesn't have to be an airliner, and then we can always like keep it interesting, fly under bridges and whatnot, and you get to push all the buttons.
Try to make as many passengers as possible vomit. Is that a stat that you have? Like how sick the passengers are if you're crazy flying?
There's probably a mod for that, an add-on for that.
Right. Yeah, that might be an interesting thing. We could do a Q&A. We could even like live stream it and have, other people
Pretend to be the
asking
passengers.
pretend to be the passengers. Yeah, and they're asking questions.
Yeah, nah, I'll leave it. I'll leave that up to you. I'm more than willing to do that.
That sounds like fun. Um, we're kind of encroaching on the hour point here. So, is there anything else that you wanted to say to anyone or any sort of thing?
Well, I mean, I have to thank the community and definitely the Discord. Everybody in the Discord has definitely been so nice to me, and it's a very humbling experience so far. All the how much kindness people have shown me, and I really definitely have to thank them a lot. I don't know. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun so far. I look forward to in the future. Look forward to what happens in the future with all this. I'm definitely not a YouTuber or some famous person that you've had on. I mean, I'm honored to be here. Really,
Oh
talk
man,
to
don't
you.
worry about that. That's not. I don't care. If I think someone has a good story to tell or just an interesting person to talk to, then I'll have them on the podcast.
All right.
I don't know. I just feel like sometimes YouTubers are kind of elitist, and it makes sense. Like if you're making videos to get views, obviously you want to have people who are going to attract a lot of attention. But not all videos have to be like that. Sometimes it's better to get like a message out, or just make a video about something that I want to do, like that recent World of Warcraft video. That's not going to get any views, but I don't care because I was interested in making that video. So, I wanted to have you on the podcast, so you shouldn't like feel weird about it.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel honored for it. It's definitely your ability to communicate with your fans is definitely a big drawing point. Like when you responded to my Twitch chat messages, that first couple of streams, I'm like, hey, this guy is, I don't know if I like, or like, hey, this guy is can talk directly to me, and I really like that makes him really interesting to me. And so definitely keep that in mind as you grow your channel, and make sure you keep doing that. It's definitely drew me in.
Oh yeah, and I actually it's good that you brought that up because I was gonna say people ask me a lot for advice on like streaming or whatever, and one of the biggest things I can say is like be active with your audience. I see so many people that don't pay any attention to their audience, and it's not. You want to talk to people, because that's how you retain them. That's how they keep coming back. It's because they like talking to you.
Yeah, totally, totally. Uh,
Right.
yeah, that was about it. It's been
Yeah.
a fun conversation with you.
Oh yeah, it's been good talking to you. I never thought I'd be talking about like Smash Brothers or flight sims or anything, because usually the with other guests the conversation is just strictly furry the entire time.
Yeah, yeah, and uh, also I forgot to mention I bet one of the big drawing factors of the channel is that Kothcast logo that you have right in the middle there.
Oh yeah, you made that. So yeah, everybody, this is the guy who made the logo. No, it's cool. I like it a lot. It was we had a little contest, and I don't know, about a dozen or so people entered with logos that they made, and a lot of people had some pretty complex, like interesting designs with some pretty good art. But like in the end, I just went with like something more simple because I don't know, it just seemed right.
Yeah, and I honestly that was kind of just a thing that I threw together in about
Oh,
2 hours.
really? No, it was no, it's great. I really like that
I
one because
appreciate it.
it's just simple. Like you go look at a lot of podcast logos and things. They're very simple.
And then the next
I,
day,
or
and then the next day after you post that, I'm like, I get like somebody wanting to commission me for one of their podcast logos. I'm like, I'm not an artist. It's not that's not my thing. I'll take $5, but I'll make you one. Uh,
Oh
like
yeah,
wow, I was
yeah,
like wow,
definitely.
that's like a that's like advertising at its finest, I guess. That's like wow, that actually works.
I don't remember what I was going to say. So I guess we'll kind of draw it to a close here
Yeah,
then.
that's great.
Um,
Yeah, I've definitely enjoyed my time here. If you have me back, maybe next time I'll have a fursuit at this point. I don't know.
yeah. Um,
I don't know.
yeah. So once again, I want to thank you for coming on and telling your story.
Yeah, I'm honored to be here, definitely. And we'll see where the future takes us with all this.
Yeah, I hope you stick around for my in the Discord and in my on my channel and everything, and try to help me get to 100K. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'll continue modding as long as you'll have me.
Well, so I will. Everyone watching, I will see you guys later, and thanks for coming
Yeah,
by.
talk to you all later. Bye.